All right. I would like to welcome everybody to a new episode of Merely Misunderstood.
All right.
Where I am your host, Brian Washington, and here's my lovely wife,
Vanessa Washington.
And man, let me tell y'all, we are so excited about today's episode. I have been anxiously looking forward and anticipating today. We have a awesome person on our show today. When I thought of the concept of Merely Misunderstood, she was one of the first people to jump in my spirit because we go back to childhood, grew up PKs with fathers in ministry in the community, but even bigger than that, she was somebody I knew of and then somebody I got to know. And the reality is that what I got to know about her when I got to know her was completely different than my perception or interpretation of who she was. And I'm telling you, today you're going to laugh. You might cry a little bit. It's going to be some funny moments. It's going to be some nuggets. But I'm telling you, at the end, you're going to grow. So without any further ado, I'm introducing to some, man, and the rest of y'all, you already know, Miss Ariel Moses.
Hey, family.
Hey, Ariel.
How y'all doing?
This is the third time, but we got it right
Hey,
this time.
come
You know
on.
what I mean?
Let's go. Let's
got it
get
right
it.
this time.
You don't know my story.
Yeah. Hey.
So listen, man.
I felt that.
The whole purpose behind this podcast is to reach out to a community of people who maybe you grew up in the faith, but people just didn't get your calling. They didn't get your purpose. They didn't understand you, right? And so we talk about a little bit of everything here: co-parenting, blended families. But I think that this story hits home to a culture of people who would feel misunderstood, where the gifts and the callings that God has on your life look so different than what people would stereotypically put you in when they knew where you come from and they knew what you done been through, right?
Absolutely.
And so, like, one of the things, we're going to just dive into this, me being a PK, right? You being a PK, right? What are some, like, stereotypical expectations people had on you because of where they knew you came from, who they knew you were, like, your life begins to unpack? What was the expectation?
They just expect you to be perfect. Meanwhile, they kids are stealing out of Walmart.
100%.
Like what?
There's like this crazy expectation. Like, I'm like, you realize I might have been born to a pastor, but I wasn't born.
You're still an individual.
Yes.
You are still a regular human being dealing with regular emotions, dealing with regular human life experiences.
100%.
Yeah. And that's what
you're not. What's the word? You're not under some great covering that keeps life
like
from
it
life.
just grandfathered in.
Life is going. Yeah, you ain't grandfathered into life.
No.
Ooh, yeah.
This is not Father Abraham, baby.
And so some of these questions gonna get deep and tough,
Yeah,
but
I
I feel like the person I'm dealing with today can handle it.
Absolutely.
Right? All right, so
No, I'm God's personal gangster.
a few years ago.
Bow, bow.
A few years ago, I went through my own divorce. Mm-hmm. I remember what that felt like.
Yeah.
I remember.
It's ghetto.
Not just that, like even like the internal things, right?
Yes, how you feel? It's ghetto.
Like there's just like, oh man, people are going to frown at me.
You feel like a failure.
Yes.
You feel like you failed.
Yes. And so for me, it was like I've counseled all these people. I've given all these people wisdom. And now I'm the one that it didn't work for. Right?
You know how many weddings I sang at?
Yeah. and so one of the things that I will say for me, I know was for me, and I'm just curious on your behalf. Once you were in the thick of your divorce, how was the church experience?
Off the top of my head, the first word that comes to, because remember, I didn't just go through one. I've been through two.
Yeah. I got you.
I've been through two.
Uh-huh.
So both times they were embarrassing.
Yeah.
You feel embarrassed.
100%.
And then the second time I went through a divorce, it was with a child.
Yeah.
And she wasn't even one yet. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was embarrassing. 100%. There's no other sugar-coated word to put in front of it or whatever. That's just how it was.
It was 100%.
And I had to sit in that. You know what I mean? Like, and I had to sit in that. I had to walk in it. I had to hold my head up. I had to raise my kid in it. And I did that.
Yeah.
I cried at home.
Yeah.
Still had to minister every Sunday. You feel me? Like, still had to show up, you know? Like, because and that's what a lot of people don't understand about being a PK, especially when you're a PK in ministry. They don't understand that you still got to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You still got to fight for your faith.
Yeah.
Even though you're going through something personally, you have to fight for your faith.
Preach, woman of God.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, that scripture is real.
Yeah.
Faith without works.
Yeah,
if you don't put no work behind your faith, baby, you might as well just go ahead and hang it up.
100%.
Yeah.
You might as well just hang it up because why are you here?
Yeah.
Why did you even get out of the bed?
And I think
if you're not going to fight for it.
You got to fight. You got to fight.
I think the part that was hardest probably for me wasn't even what people were saying. It was what I thought people were thinking.
Oh, that.
It was like I got to stand up here and I got to preach a message.
Knowing
right? Knowing you know, like what I'm going through, right? And then I don't know about for you, but for me, 100%. The other hard part was my mother and my father has been my navigation my whole life, right?
And how long have your parents been married?
My whole life,
right?
So like when I started trying to navigate divorce, I didn't even know who to talk to because it's like, Dad, you've counseled people,
but you ain't never really been separated from your wife.
But what I'm feeling right now,
right?
You felt that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, they were giving me jewels and they were dropping wisdom, but I'm not gonna lie.
I wasn't feeling it.
It wasn't even speaking to me.
That experience would have helped.
If
we had a common ground we could meet on.
Because you know, like my parents have been married for 40 years, right? So my mom does not know. She doesn't know what it means to pack up your stuff and leave.
Yeah. My mom
she does not.
Either.
She does. And hey, kudos to them.
Yeah.
Now,
that's not me.
They know how to be angry with one another. I'm gonna sleep here. You gonna sleep there? But I dare you to leave. I dare you to leave Live Oak Lane. I want you to.
Yeah.
Play with me.
Like, I was thinking the same thing. Like, what I'm going through right now, and my dad has always been my superhero, right? So like, it was like, if I tell him what I'm going through and telling him where we are, like, is he gonna say, "Oh, son, you quitting?" Like, I don't.
You giving up? Yeah, you giving up.
And so that's the answers that's the response I was expecting. And so because it was the response I was expecting, I was so uncomfortable to say
exactly.
The nights when I'm crying, like my daddy or my mom was kind of like. My mom was the first to call because I knew she was gonna thug it out with me. You know what I'm saying? I was so scared to call my dad because I didn't even know what his interpretation of what I was going through was going to be, only for us to finally have those discussions. Yeah. And he was like, "No, I ain't never been through it." Right. He said, but I still know how to show up. You know what I'm saying?
And it's almost kind of like, you know, you're like, your goal is to be like your parents, like have the marriage they had, and have that thing.
You want to continue? It's traditionalism. You want to continue that.
But then when you come to them, like, look, I failed. I not only failed myself, I kind of failed my parents. Because, you know, that's the bloodline I'm trying to walk in.
You go into marriage with an expectation as well.
Yes.
You go in thinking this is forever.
Yes.
No, I don't think anyone goes in saying,
"Yeah, I got this for like 6 months.
I'm gonna give it 2 years.
Like I'm gonna just, throw everything I got into this. Change my last name all
I'm gonna go down to the DMV, catch an attitude with the people because they don't want to change. I'm gonna do all that.
Cause you ain't there forever. I just got my name changed. Yeah. And it took me 2 months just to get into the DMV. Period. And then it's like you sitting there for another hour. I was like, I had an appointment at 10 o'clock.
And the DMV is not for. That's why I still got. Listen, I was like, I'm gonna have this name longer than the marriage. My baby got it. I got it. But that's gonna be changing too because she's gonna have my dad's last name.
And let me tell you, it's funny.
Yeah. Because that's he's made an effort to be in her life. Yeah. And that's something I'm a respect. Yeah. And I want her to know that she has you ain't gotta worry about nothing. Yeah. Your mama and your grandpappy.
Got you.
We got you, baby.
100%.
Period.
This is what I was gonna say. This is the perfect like diving board for this next kind of, I guess, transition of a question. As long as I've known you, you have always had the capacity to make humor of an uncomfortable season or situation.
Oh yeah.
And it's crazy because I think some people don't get it. That's ministry too, right?
Absolutely.
Like when you can weather the hardest seasons and still find something to laugh at. And I know some people don't get it, but I get it because I will tell you, I'm the type of person, I have this weird kind of personality where I will make jokes when I'm uncomfortable.
Oh, absolutely.
And I will
That's
make,
me all day.
Yeah, like when I'm uncomfortable, I make jokes. And so
I make jokes at funerals. It's horrible. If we're all talking and I'm like, I'm talking, but if everybody's quiet, I'll be like, well, she really wouldn't want us to be quiet. I'd be like, Ariel, please stop,
Yeah, but you've always had the ability to kind of navigate that. My question would be, has there ever been a moment when you were around people who didn't get that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, my siblings, my family. Yeah. They didn't get it, but they understood, it's not a coping mechanism, but it's literally laughing to keep from crying.
Yeah.
Well, if I gotta cry late in the midnight hour, okay? And if I done tossed and turned all night, when I get up and I talk to the good Lord, the Bible says the joy of the Lord is your strength.
Yeah, and to think yourself happy.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So if I have already poured out all of my tears at night, why in the world, when I get up in the wee hours of the morning to talk to the Lord and beat the devil, would I step out of my house to woe is me?
Yeah.
And that's true. The statement is true. Misery loves company. I ain't part of that tribe.
Yeah, I don't want that.
I am not a part of that tribe.
I don't want that company.
I don't want it. I will literally and then also it beats other people to the punch. You can't offend me with something that I'm laughing at.
Exactly. 100%.
You cannot offend me with something that I'm laughing at or something that I've already beaten. I may be in the middle of it, but baby, guess victory is near.
Yes.
And this laughter is going to help me get there. So I'm going to beat you to the punch while you still talking and figuring out what's going on with my life.
Right.
Let me go ahead and help you. I got something for you.
Yeah.
And also it keeps me from fighting and going to jail. It keeps me from fighting and going to jail because God is still working on me.
A process.
Yes, it's a process, y'all. Because now don't think I ain't been took there.
Yeah,
I have.
I understand.
Because sometimes people think that because you love the Lord, you sing about His goodness, that you minister about the Lord, that you're supposed to just take all of the pokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jesus wasn't no punk either.
He
so.
wasn't, baby. And wasn't.
That was my brother.
He flipped them tables in that tabernacle. And I may not be a table flipper, but I'm definitely a people flipper.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes these hands move quicker than this mouth. And so that's why I just got to be like, okay, Jesus, you got it. Take the wheel. Because if I do, I'm running them over. Take it.
Well, I'll say, I remember even in your music.
Yeah.
I remember where it started.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I remember, and I can see where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like night and days, right? But I also can tell you, I can say that about myself even in my ministry, like how I handle people, how I preach, my communication. I can tell you when I started, life was green. Yeah. Like it was like fresh grass that had just been planted. Like it was just sweet, right?
And that side out front.
Yeah.
Daddy God was so good.
You know what I'm saying? But then life started lifing.
Man.
And I will say that the elements of lifing really developed me more to be able to not just talk about His word from a I read it standpoint, but from a I lived it. And when I hear you, minister, I don't hear you minister from a I heard this song sung this way. But it's more like these words mean something to me.
Yeah. I know him.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And you see that in your worship. And so I would say, how has that transition of taking my experiences, both good and bad, my pains, my wins, as well as what, if we be honest, things that felt like losses, how does it come? How do you think it just finds its way out of your music?
It has to. He's the way that it does it though. I truly believe that me being in the most uncomfortable situations, it's almost like the how they talk about how oil being pressed, olive oil being made, and you have to be crushed and you have to be pressed down, but it produces this oil, and I truly believe that nothing can get produced unless he crushes some things. You know, he has to crush some relationships. He has to crush some, not just relationships, some situations, you know, like, and sometimes, and that is what helps produce what I pour out. And I have to be okay with the crushing. Yeah. A lot of us are not okay with the crushing.
It's uncomfortable.
It is. And as Christians, that baffles me because we feel so entitled to being comfortable. And what actually helped me through it, though, I started watching this series called The Chosen, and it follows the lives and the life of the Jesus and his 12 disciples, and you see them in the most humanistic way, and you see them in conflict with following him, and some of them having these great titles. And I didn't know that Matthew was hated so much as a tax collector, but it was the crushing in order to follow him, but because they were able to follow him, they were able to pour out and to see things, and to walk with him, and to talk with him, and to commune with him. And so I'm learning. And the crushing has actually brought me closer to him.
Yeah, 100%.
You feel me?
I understand that too, because when I think about all of the people that people have looked up to, they have to realize the story that brought them there, or the things that brought them through to that point. It's like that. We were talking, I want to say on Tuesday in our small group, we were talking about how the process of things is so important, and everybody wants to skip the process.
I was just about to, don't skip the steps.
We can't skip the process, because in the process, we think the crushing comes, not just of other people, but ourselves, and breaking our egos, breaking us down to the point where we know that it is not me, but the gift that God has given me.
Yes.
It is not my life, but the life that he allows me to live for him. So it's so important that we understand that, because when we look at people, it's not... I'm not to be jealous or envious of you. It's to say, look, I know he did it for you. I know there's things that he's doing for me.
Absolutely. And that is so, what you just said was so beautiful, because you have to understand everybody's story is different.
Yes.
And everybody's going to be crushed in a different way.
In a different way, 100%.
And that's why I never say, oh, I wish girl, no, I don't. And don't ever, I tell people like, girl, I wish because you don't know what I had to go through, the grieving process I had to go through, the suicidal thoughts that I had to overcome, the depression that I had to overcome. Girl, you don't know.
I remember we were watching a podcast, and then a man had said, because I think it was a woman vocalist, he was like, whatever it took for you to get there, I thank God. Because you don't know the hurt, the love, the process that she went through.
Right.
That it cost her to be able to pour out her ministry like that through her voice, and to affect others in the way that it impacts them and provokes them to want to know who God is for themselves.
Because can I be real? Like I can relate to that, because I feel like I remember in my younger years when I first realized that God had called me. I didn't even know what that would look like, because I kept saying, God, I ain't experienced nothing yet. Like
you know what?
Don't get me wrong,
you bring that up, and it's so crazy. I hate to interrupt you, but you bring that up. I remember you saying that for your first sermon. I remember that, because everybody was there. It was a packed house.
I had not experienced anything, and so it was like anything that I could preach in this moment would be textbook, right? But then again, like that was a great analogy. That pressing, life starts lifing you. You start experiencing, you grow, you
like
mature.
Food, it needs seasoning.
Yes, you gotta have it.
You win in the places you thought you was gonna lose, and you lose in the places you thought you was gonna win. And then it's like, man, life makes sense. It made none at first, but it makes all the sense in the world now. And as it made more sense, your word became richer.
Yes.
Your faith became richer, right? Who God called you to be and how he intended for you to live that out became so much more clear, right?
Absolutely.
And let me be real, God gave my peers and my friends back home, most of them all have the capacity to sing. The Lord gave me no singing ability. And so I'm like, okay, Lord, so now you done called me to preach. And you know, I'm a Southern preacher where you're supposed to be able to hum, sing, and hoop. You know what I'm saying? God, I can't
even play a little bit.
Sing on key. Yeah,
even play a little bit.
God, what is we doing here? And then my ministry began to unfold, and it was like, yeah, but I didn't need you to do that.
That
right?
part.
Because it's crazy. Like,
that's not what I called you to do, sir. Stop trying to do more.
Yeah.
And do what I called you to do.
Okay, stay in your lane.
Right.
And you trying to get tools.
Ain't no
you trying to get tools for stuff. Listen, I didn't call you to work on that. So you don't even need the tools for that because I didn't call you to work on that. And it's crazy because I remember being able to look at my life and realizing 14, 15 years into student ministry, I realized I wasn't just good at it, like I was called to it.
Yeah.
But you had to know what you were called to, and you had to be okay with it, right?
Yeah.
And so I say that in saying, Ariel, when I see the ministry, right? When I hear, you hear some people who sing and the music just sound good, and then you hear some people sing and the song, the words might not even be might not be 5 pages long, but you hear the ministry in it,
right?
And it ministers to you in a way. And what made me think of it was I remember at J-Bug, this last one, you wasn't even supposed to be singing.
Yeah, that was my first time seeing you.
You weren't even supposed to be singing, and they just kind of.
They was like, "Hey, come on up here." I was like, "All right, girl, come on."
And 2 seconds, and you felt like the
shift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't. I tell people all the time, you cannot take somebody somewhere you've never been. And so when you hear people leading worship, you can't lead me somewhere that isn't a part of your
daily experience.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when I hear you in that, it's like, man, like I've had the privilege of watching you go from here to there, and most people don't. So they don't know the cost of the oil, right? They don't know what life costed you to get to this place. But now sitting at that place, I'm gonna ask you a real question.
What's up?
Did you already know? Was there a thought in your mind that this is where I could end up? I might end up?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I wanted to be like on Broadway.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here, God? Like, what? But I'll never forget it. It was a preacher that got a hold of me, Prophet Sean Montero. He's deceased now. Mm-hmm. And he got a hold of me at a revival, child. I said, the devil. That song, me and the devil had a tussle. But I won.
Yes.
He called me, baby. I was ducking and hiding. Al, my oldest brother is real churchy. He a pastor. He's all about, when I say, baby, dresses up for Jesus and everything. Okay, now me, I was like, I'm going to go to this little funky revival, but I'm wearing what I want to wear. Yeah. I'm going to put on what I want to put on. Mm-hmm. Just being me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
But, just going with my brother. Everybody in my family was like, well, we're all going. And I was
like, destined to be there.
Like, girl, I don't want to be here. And that man, that Hispanic looking man, called me out. He said, hey, come on up here, get in that middle aisle. I was like, oh, the devil. And before I knew it, my feet was moving before I could even think and say no. And he said, see, you don't want to do ministry because you're too real for it. And everybody not going to understand how you present Jesus to them.
Yeah.
He said, but I see it. Yeah. He said, you just got to stop. Whatever you're doing for the world, just turn around and do it for him.
Yeah. And
it clicked in that moment for me, that me singing in all of these different places and these clubs and all of the stuff, I was really supposed to be heavily involved in ministry. And that's when I just finally decided to just lay my armor down. Because you so... I was so abrasive with it. Like, not really abrasive, but I was so against it. I was just like not trying, because I was like, Lord, I'm being church. Mm-hmm. They're going to have people trying to talk to me that's probably a pastor. I don't want to be nobody's first lady in nobody's church. Mm-hmm. God, this is not for me.
Yeah.
This is not my ministry. It is not. But he was like,
I had that shirt.
For I know the plans that I have for you, sweetie. Yeah.
My you might not know him, but I got
you might not. And then like my grandma always say, when you make plans, God laughs.
Yeah.
And so that man got a hold of me, laid hands on me, and it literally, I felt immediately when he put his hands on me that I was being prepared. in the spirit realm for what God was about to do with me, with my voice. And in that moment, God was just he was telling me, like, hey, this gift that I gave you, I can take it away.
Yeah.
You ain't got to use it for me, but you ain't going to use it for nobody else.
Yeah. This day forward.
Yeah.
I done gave you notice.
And literally, when I left there, I literally had said, okay, I'm good. Let me go ahead and dive on in. But that's when hell.
I was about to say, so
hell
came.
Go? Hell came for me, baby. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because we was cooling with you.
Yeah.
But now
you done shifted on us.
Yeah.
Now you done changed teams.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something. One of the things I will say that I've always admired about you.
What's up?
Was the boldness to just be you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for me, I'm going to tell you, it took me years to discover the courage to just be me. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. It was growing up in the type of church and the type of culture and the type of background we grew up in, right? Like, you had to look a certain way. Everything had to be suits and ties.
Oh, yeah, and hats and lace gloves.
Yeah, and those things weren't me. And it took me years of running to figure out how to say, I can do this, and that is not a prerequisite of my calling to do this. For you, it was almost as if you didn't have to hunt for it. The boldness to just say, this is me. This is my calling, and God called me knowing this was me.
Period.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I stood on that. Once Prophet Sean Montero put that, it's almost like God was giving me an okay.
Yeah.
To be misunderstood.
Yeah.
Because not all of his disciples were understood.
No, 100%.
Right? And they walked with him.
Yes.
Most of them were misunderstood.
Cast out devils.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Cast out demons.
Yeah.
And they were misunderstood. It's okay. And once I started studying that, and really, I think it wasn't even a hard transition for me because I was so bold in the world. If I could show up to the club in a mini skirt with some heels on and pull your man, his man, and everybody else's, then guess what? I'm gonna go to God and I'm gonna pull him for Jesus, her for Jesus, and everybody for Jesus.
Yeah,
so I had to show up, and people needed to see someone who really who was bold in who they were, and not saying that I just knew who I was, because there were times where me already being this bold, vibrant person was not always received well. Yeah. You know, it kind of, to other people, some people, it may come off obnoxious. She thinks she all, and I do. And I do. I do think I'm all that. I do, because if I don't like me, nobody's gonna like me.
The stage for nobody.
Yeah. Like I'm not gonna give nobody the space to feel as though their validation is needed for me in order to walk in my purpose or my calling. This came before you. It's gonna be here after you. Yeah. So that's why it was so hard to lead them. The first one, I think that was a startup marriage, but the second one, it was so easy for me to leave. I was like, thank you. You did me a favor.
And I would say what was hard. What I would say has been hard for me. I'm still battling. If I just be completely transparent, right? Is being okay with not living up to other people's expectations,
and that's okay,
and saying that's all right. Like it's times like it's funny. Last Sunday I preached, and throughout my sermon I've developed this habit. It's kind of like, you remember. It's kind of like back in the day when we used to talk to people and every other word was, you know what I'm saying? No. Right? Like for me, I'm constantly apologizing, and for the longest, I didn't understand. I didn't even notice I was doing it. If I be quite frankly honest, I didn't even notice I was doing it, and then somebody brought it to my attention, like, stop apologizing, and I'm like, but then I realized after I assessed it, right, like first of all, I say this on many of our episodes, and I'm an advocate for it, right. Going to therapy was a big deal for me.
I was just about to say that, therapy,
right? Because therapy kind of gave me the ability, some skills to make me do some things. And one of those things it makes me do is not being scared of going back and processing what I did and finding the why as to why I did it. Yeah. And I discovered in this situation, I constantly said I was sorry or am apologizing because I'm uncomfortable with what I'm about to say, and I'm already anticipating somebody else is not going to be receptive of what I'm about to say. So I lead off with listen, I know y'all probably not going to like this. I'm sorry, but I just got to say it. No, I don't have to apologize for it, because if it's what God told me to say, then there should be, it should be all right to say without me having to apologize for it. You know what I mean?
You know how much stuff in the Old Testament that Elijah would really have to apologize to a lot of people.
No, 100%.
I'm not apologizing for nothing.
No, and
he
that's
gave
what
it
I
to
said.
me.
That's the difference. Like, I watch you unapologetically be you, and still say, this is where I am with God. This is my journey, my relationship. This is where I am now. Is it perfect? No. Is it perfect for you? Probably not. But it's not for you. It's for me. And it's not perfect for me. But because I know I'm working through it, I'm striving. Enough in the moment.
Absolutely. I'm striving.
Yes.
I'm still in the fight.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think that needs to be celebrated amongst Christians.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm still in the fight. I may not be where you would want me to be.
Yeah, your expectation of me.
Or even my own expectation of myself. I may not be there, but technically, right here, right now, this is where I am. This is where I'm at. I'm showing up. I'm doing what I need to do. And I'm walking.
You where you supposed to be?
I'm walking in it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, a lot of people can't really understand it because they're too afraid to walk in theirs.
100%.
Because if they show up 100% as who they really are, scars and all, because they don't like themselves, they'll believe in their mind that somebody won't like it. But guess what? Your journey is not, and I've learned that too, that my journey is not really for other people's expectations, but it is to bless other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not for your expectations of how I do my journey. But my journey is to help bless somebody else.
Yes. And a lot of people need to be that transparent. Like, a lot of people need to say the things that they've gone through.
Yes.
And the experiences that they've had, because there's some people there's somebody waiting on your testimony.
Absolutely.
So that they can say, okay, there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is hope. I'm not hopeless. You know, I'm not in a situation where I can't turn back to God. Like, God does forgive me.
Yes.
And I can see my future. But a lot of people they're so private.
They've made a cocoon of shame and guilt.
And let me go a step further. Like, not trying to be too deep and
go
just being real. The church is at the level of scrutiny that it's receiving from the world for this very reason. Because we've created this facade. We haven't lived in a space of reality. We've created this expectation like, oh, we're all perfect. And then they've gotten close enough to the tree to flick it, and stuff and started falling from the tree. And now they're starting to see, oh, I thought he was, blameless. There's the blame. Oh, I thought he was living perfect. There's his imperfection, right?
Okay.
When if we was just transparent and saying, we always made that cliche statement, the church is the hospital and it's full of sick people.
Then let it be that.
But then you get here and we judge you for being sick. Like,
you judges me for being gay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not gay, but I'm just saying, I'm bringing up a hypothetical. But I'm just saying, like, you tell people, like, your church is welcome. Okay, all right, I'm coming. All right, and then they may come in with their wife and their little adoptive daughter or something, and they be like, oh, I ain't know shit. Well, it don't matter.
No.
Okay, because your son is in prison for kidnapping an old man. And you send money and put money on his books every month.
And got them people over there bound. They
Period.
can't even operate their ministry and forward their call.
You won't even let them be a greeter at the door.
Nah, come on.
I can't see. I'm just saying, but listen, Lord Jesus. Don't listen. That's a whole nother, because I don't like that.
Yeah.
Even as a pastor's kid, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it because I was like, girl, don't you be down at the juke joint on Proctor Street.
And you know the crazy part? The ones that normally have had the most to say, like, just keeping it real, the ones that
got the most messed up life.
Get the closet full.
Bones.
Yeah.
They got decomposing bodies in the closet.
Let me ask you a question.
Well, can I ask a quick question before you?
Go ahead.
So now, in all of your experiences of life, what song have you leaned on the most?
Goodness of God.
Okay.
Easy.
So tell me why.
The chorus. All my life,
Yeah.
you have been faithful.
Yes.
All my life, you have been so, so good.
Yeah.
With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. She didn't say I will sing of what he almost did, what he brought. I will sing and it reminds me of the song, "It is well with my soul.
Yeah.
It is well, it is well, it is well with my soul." Because you're literally, you could be, and what's so crazy is the lyrics of "It Is Well," the first verse. And when you think about, my dad broke that down about the lyricist who actually wrote it. I think he had just lost his wife and baby in a storm when he wrote the song.
Yes.
And he proclaimed that it was still well. And so those are my two. Those are my two go-to. When I say on the flow, I'm gonna be late for work.
Yeah.
So sorry. Do not let that come on my Pandora.
I'm not gonna lie.
That's where you need that moment.
Yeah.
Worship 100% got me through.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
yes. I feel like if I would have never, I discovered goodness of God in such a tumultuous time of my life. And the first version I heard, it wasn't CC Winans. It was I forgot the people. I think it was Bethel Music or something like that. Yeah, they be fire. Yeah. Okay. So I heard it from them and I was ripped up. Yeah. You hear me? Yeah. I was ripped from the seams. Lord have mercy. And it just resonated so well because I'm literally declaring to God that in a very hard place in my life, from a broken place, my heart is broken. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to raise a child on my own. I don't even know how to raise me on my own.
Yeah.
Okay? So, but goodness of God it will always be my anthem. Okay. Because it rings so true. And it declares for all time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It says all my life. Yeah. So whenever it started, till it ends, you gonna be faithful, and that has always reminded me. I could be having the worst day ever, and I'm gonna put that on, and it is going to remind me. It's a reminder.
It's a reminder of what you're fighting for.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder how I'm working my faith.
Oh yeah.
It's a reminder of the process. It's a reminder that He still loves me even when
I will sing of the goodness of God.
Yeah.
Even when I'm not good, I'm gonna sing of His goodness. So that's what I love about that. That's my favorite worship song, and my favorite hymn is "It Is Well." Okay, that's it. That'll get you through.
I'm gonna tell you, it's funny you asked that. Like, I've been trying to follow these notes, but I feel like we just kind of flow.
It's all right.
It's easier. But the reality is, I think y'all heard me say earlier, I have zero capacity to lead worship. But let me be clear, in my closet, in my private time, in my intimate moments, I know how to get with Him.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And when
you better.
When it was hard and I didn't have the answers. And I was struggling. There was so many things I didn't know how to do. Right? Like, I was struggling just to be present for my two. Yeah. And like still trying to have time to be present for me. And then having these obstacles happen and bumps happen. But one thing I will say I knew how to do, so I knew how to get in front of it. And it'd be funny because it'd be times my daughter would come in, and in my closet I have it's like a little like a mantle, little desk, and it's got my little candles. Yeah. And when I just need, like, I'm going with God, and I'll have some music playing, and it's just I make my own little anointing oil. Yeah. So it's some little anointing. Come on. One time, my daughter come in there, and I'm just laid out on the floor. Tears running down my face. She said, "You all right?" I'm all right. But in those moments, God was giving me assurance. Yeah. God was giving me certainty that it was going to be okay. Yeah. And so I had to lean on that. You do. Right? Because everything around me was falling apart. Yeah. Hands down. Everything around me was falling apart. The things that I thought I had control of.
You don't have control.
I realized I had no control over them. And I will tell you, the worst part of it is just being transparently honest. Not the worst. The hardest part for me, and I want to say this, trying not to be a toxic man, right? And when I say that, I mean, grew up in a culture where crying and showing emotion was hard, right? Then you go to therapy, and the therapist told you that's your problem. Your problem is you don't cry. The problem is you don't show enough emotion. And so now what has begun to happen in my private space, in my worship, and my intimate, now I'm in front of people, and all I have to do is say 2 words about how good he was in this season of my life.
That's
and
it.
Tears just start running down my face.
That's it.
And look, they like, you good? I'm like, I'm good, man. Like, but and I really
understand.
am good. I just worship to me, and maybe you can attest, you both can attest because you both are singers, right?
Yeah.
The worship for me is kind of like old school R&B music used to be like. And I'm gonna tell you what I mean. You could hear that song,
take you to
and
a place.
It take you to a place, right? Like I used to tell the kids, I knew at my Aunt Cynthia's house when it was time to clean up.
Period.
If you woke up on a Saturday morning and some Sade or something was playing, some cleanings happened. And you could remember, you could close your eyes and you can remember back then everybody was using pine sol. So you can close your eyes, there wasn't no fabuloso. You can close your eyes, you smell the pine sol, you know where you are. When you start getting into worship, you remember where God showed up for you in the moment when that song resonated the most, when it ministered the most. And so when you see me in church and the choir is singing or the psalmist is singing, and all of a sudden you see tears running on my face, that's a combination of emotion.
Absolutely.
It's the emotion of, I remember when you used this very song in this very moment to minister me when I was in this particular place.
Where I made it over.
Yes. I didn't lose my mind in the mess.
My favorite song, and it's crazy because they sung it the other day at church, and I'm sitting in the sound booth, and all of a sudden tears start running down my face again, was Mary Mary had the song, I can't remember the name of the song, but it's Never Said That It Would Be Easy.
Oh, I Just Can't Give Up Now.
I Just Can't Give Up Now.
Yeah, that's my jam.
Every time I hear that, because at the time when I first heard that song, life hadn't really started lifing. I just liked it. God had created a connection
nice little
with
beat.
me. But then when life started lifing, that song made so much more sense.
So much. Okay. Yes.
You like
Give it up.
Right? Nobody told me.
Nobody.
I'd
have found out.
To myself.
Look.
Nobody said it was
Messed
gonna
around
be
and
easy.
found out what it really was. Lord.
Yeah.
But
and so I would say for me, it took me a while to get to the place to be able to say that, but I will tell you that the hardest part of this journey for me was trying to figure out who I was after the divorce.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
because you dropped so many roles.
So many roles. And not just that, you really lose so many relationships too. Because like a lot of my relationships was contingent on they were married. So we hung out together because we were married.
Right.
Now I'm not married no more. I don't know what to talk to you
about. They done picked a side.
And then as if God didn't have enough going on, 2-3 months into the separation, a couple comes up to me and says, we need you to do our marriage counseling. And I was like, bro, I don't think I'm the dude for that. I'm like, I'm going through. No, God told us you're supposed to do it. And let me tell you what God did.
He makes you do difficult things.
Oh, I was like, God, what are we doing? And so, I'm still grieving. I'm broken a little bit right now. What are we doing? But I will tell you, when we got to the other side of the session, God said, "Now I want you to see something." They were back in unity. I still see them talking and be right? And God said, it wasn't that you didn't know what to do. And you needed to know that you can do this. Like, it's not that you didn't know how to be a husband. It's not that you don't know how to be a father.
You can do this.
You can do this, right?
Yeah.
And let me be clear in saying, and I say this to people all the time, but just being clear in saying, in my situation, the failure of my marriage was I don't want to use too big of a word, but just say it was a two-sided coin.
Right? Yeah.
It was some of them and some of me. Like, just being honest.
It was both.
But exactly. Yeah. And so
it was just irreconcilable differences.
Yeah. That's what they use.
That's what it is. We both just didn't know it was bad on both sides.
And so for me, it was like, because of that, I was like, well, maybe I don't have this marriage thing down. Maybe. And God's like, well, you did it for, 12, 13 years. So you lasted a while.
Period.
Second, I want you to see this. Because what the enemy is trying to do with this and what I've called to happen with this ain't the same.
Right.
See, what the enemy is trying to do with this is make you disqualify yourself. And that's not the case. what the case really is there are some places in the shadows of your life that need to be revealed for you to fix them.
Absolutely.
So that you can be right. But you can't be right if you don't deal with the shadows of the things that you've been able to hide behind. Man, look, I'm better than most. Hey, look, I'm more solid than the others. I do this and I did this and I check all of these boxes, but then there's still these boxes that go unmarked that you need to fix. And
for you. These are for you.
And so for me, it was the hardest part to transition out, but if I be honest, it blew everything up. And what I mean when I say it blew everything up, I'm in therapy and I'm dealing with everything. I'm dealing with the frustrations as a son. I'm dealing with the frustrations as a employee. I'm dealing with the frustrations as a father. Like all of these things that I had hidden, they just all
just comes up. It's almost like a volcano.
Yes,
everything is happening. It's a crisis happening every day. Sometimes multiple crises in one day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
A little fire here. A little fire there.
Okay. A little smoke coming over there.
Right. Fire. Yeah. But
and people, and you know what? And you're gonna understand this because of your character, right?
Yeah.
Because of who you are. People still wanted you to show up as like you, and I'm like, I am me. But I'm the hurting me.
I'm the hurting me, like, and they don't understand that. So
make me laugh.
It's crazy. That's crazy that you say that because
I'm the one that's limping.
Yes,
but I'm still trying to serve.
I'm up here, but I'm limping.
I'm limping. Y'all don't recognize.
Hey, you lend me a little crush.
Right.
Just lend me one.
Yeah.
You see me limping, sis.
A long time.
And I don't need it for a long time. Just a short time.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And I remember. Jade was 11 months old. The first week in August, I had my miscarriage. The day after, this was my miscarriage with my second child. The day after my miscarriage, I still went to my mom's conference. She has a women's conference every year. Diamond conference. But I knew I had to be in the place.
Yeah.
And she was telling me, Ariel, no, you still wearing a diaper.
Yeah, but still, I gotta show up.
I said, Mama, I said, I can't stay in this house.
But that's how you heal yourself.
Right. I had to be around women.
You gotta work that faith.
Listen.
And just like, Lord, I'm seeking your presence.
Yeah.
Because I need you.
And them women covered me at that conference. And I feel like it was really God building me up and preparing me for the next couple of crises throughout the month. Yeah. Because that first week, I lost my baby. The next week, I found out that my husband at the time had been unfaithful, and he left. All I did was ask him one question, and I was still willing to work it out. God giving me all the red flags, and I'm trying to love the red flag to white. It's all right. I'm going to forgive it. I'm acting like Rashida off of Love and Hip Hop. I'm going to forgive it. Yeah. It's all right.
He said be forgiven.
That man say, he said, why you looking through my phone? And left. I want a divorce. And God said, give it to him.
That's hard.
He asked for that in January 2023. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we absent one from another. This we ask in Jesus' name. Go on about your business. Yeah. People was like, that was fast. I don't play. When God tells you and he confirms that you're going to be okay. Yeah. You got to trust it.
That's the part.
And that's the thing. And what's so crazy is, so that second week he left. The third week, the transmission in my car went out. The fourth week, I lost my job and got COVID. It was crazy.
It was a crisis.
He had took my name off the accounts, everything. I couldn't get no money. My parents was floating me their credit cards, trying to help me. Lights got turned off. I'm like, God, trying to figure out how I'm going to pay for daycare. And it's like God was just telling me, I'm going to let it. I got you. Please. Yeah. Just let it fall.
Yeah.
Let it fall.
Yeah.
Let it fail. Let it fall. Let it fail.
Yeah.
Some people, I don't know who this for, but somebody, you let it fail. Whatever it is, if it's a relationship, a job, let it fail. If the ball is trying to drop, let the ball drop.
Yeah.
Sometimes as humans, we like, I want to save it.
Yeah.
I don't want it to drop. I don't want the glass to break. And oh my God, let it break.
But you know what? It allows us to see God for who he is. When we see that everything that we've set up here fall, and we have to know that Like, God, I was holding that.
But you know what it is? It's the exchange.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that.
Yeah.
He gives you power for the surrender.
Yeah.
Once you say, here you go.
That's it.
I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just know that I trust.
And I'm going to trust you.
A good God.
Yeah.
And see, the reason I can relate to that, like that part you just said earlier, was I felt like mine happened in a wave.
Oh, yeah.
It did. Like, so my job says, okay, we're going in a different direction, and we're getting ready to bring in a new.
I hate them different directions.
So, what direction?
Turn in my direction.
And so we need you to resign.
Let me move sides.
And
Is
I
this the
was
right
like,
direction?
Okay, wait.
Sorry.
No, you good. I like that.
They were like, we need you to resign. And I'm like, okay. Right? So, and I knew this last job was my last job as a student pastor. And so my expectation was, God, I'm going to go out on top. You know what I'm saying? But that wasn't the case.
No.
I had to gracefully leave. And so then I left, and God, don't get me wrong, God sent me support. Man, I tell everybody, there could be no story of my season without.
Well, I almost started shouting because let me tell you, he gonna always send you a village.
No, man, he did 100%.
And he's
100%.
and he sends it so fast.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
like, hey, hold on.
Don't worry about
Hold
it.
on over here, China. Let me go ahead. I got somebody in Port Arthur, Texas. I got to send some people over there.
Yeah.
And it's the people that you least expect.
Yeah.
Listen, when I tell you preaching, listen, it was 100%. Because,
I love it.
Because don't get me wrong, this couple, Jen and Derek, I can't tell my story without them in it, right? And what was crazy is I knew Derek because Derek was one of my volunteers in the student area. When it was time to leave, God had already been boiling in us a vision to start a business that would allow us to work with nonprofits that work with at-risk youth. So when my job tells me it's time to go, I'm like, okay, but where am I going? Derek said, don't worry about it. We got you. And if I'm talking about for like 12 months, we didn't miss a bill. We didn't miss a holiday. We didn't miss a birthday.
Listen,
I didn't even lose my income, right? God took care of it. And even while he was taking care of it, in those moments that were the lows, right? I had people who would not let me stay in that low too long. Like, I still, to this day, got one of my partners we don't talk all the time. We close tight. But he'll call me and he was like, bro, you can't be vulnerable. You can't expect everybody to be vulnerable with you. And then you walk around and you trying to carry it by yourself.
Okay.
And you got people here saying, B, let me carry some of that.
Yeah.
Let me hold some of that.
Let me hold
you know
it.
what I'm saying? And I'm like, you're not even know what to do with it. He say, the truth of the matter is, I don't even know what to do with it. I know where to take it. He was like, and the truth of the matter is you, in this season, you're holding it and everything around you. Like, you might not feel like it looks that way, but you're standing in front of people talking about, like, you know what I mean? Struggling. Let me have it.
Looking like them people off Life on them little glass bottles.
Yes. Told him slip inside the bottle.
I was like, God, like, baby, please just let it go. Just let it go.
And I think Ariel, the hard part for me is that there's not enough of these conversations.
Oh, yeah. Like,
we're still trying.
You got to look for those conversations.
We're still trying to have church.
We really are. I tell my daddy all the time, I be like, Daddy, just put a couch in the middle of the pulpit and just talk to people. Come on. If you was to literally, and people always ask me, where do you get your strength from? Both of my grandmothers were single mothers. One was in a domestic, very volatile relationship. My mother witnessed it growing up. I always said to myself, if that ever happens to me, my child and I. One time I did drop my baby off to daycare, and baby, I tied that hair up. God was in that place. Oh, he was there because it could have been a whole lot worse. And cops were called. Yeah. And what's so crazy was I got I wish he would have pressed charges because it would have happened again. Because why you playing with me? I dropped that baby off the daycare at 7 o'clock. He should have known something was up. Like, she dropping off really early. Yeah. And I called in the way. I was like, hey, y'all, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. Oh, an hour later, BPD.
Yeah.
Something was going on in here. Table crashed. Oh, yeah, baby, I didn't play.
Oh, gosh.
I did not play.
Okay. True transparency moment. My marriage, my first marriage, it was domestic. But I could never find the courage to do it back.
Yeah.
Like, I never...
Was it to fight back?
Yeah, I never could find the courage to fight back.
I think for me, it was you got me, I'm not going to cuss, but you got me effed up.
Yeah.
Because who are you? And I guess me having 2 older brothers and hearing the story of my grandmother.
Yeah.
Now, my grandmother was crazy. She was crazy. Lena was crazy. She literally, like, but her, I think it was her second husband that acted like that. He loved women. And he was unashamed about his cheating. So he drove up in the driveway. The woman was in the car. My grandma snuck in that car, locked it when he went into the house, raised up from that back seat, and wore that lady out.
Oh, gosh.
And he ended up breaking her ankle with his bare hands. My grandmother. And she told me that story. She said, don't you ever get in a position where you allow someone to feel as though they have that much power over you. Yeah. And I had 2 older brothers. I had no choice but to fight back.
Yeah.
Because they thought, oh, Ariel the girl. Okay, I can do what y'all do. And a little bit better. I was in powerlifting in high school. So, yeah.
I don't think it's the fact I was not strong.
No, you were strong.
I think it was just that
you chose your battles.
I just didn't want to hurt you like you hurt me.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
I think it was more of that. And then when I went through the season where I was like, Lord, what am I doing? And like, what am I doing wrong? And I could clearly hear him saying, stand. And I was like, well, if your word says, I kept trying to apply the Bible to it. And then it took for me to get divorced and, have all the other stuff that happened on the back end to realize that till death do us part, and I was dying.
You were in the marriage.
I was dying in my marriage. So it was dead. I just needed to.
And then also
myself.
For me, I knew that day, I'm so glad my daughter was at daycare. I said, I never ever want my daughter to see that.
Yeah.
And I don't want her to experience. I was introduced to a whole different version of myself that day, and it freaked me out. Yeah. I never want to be. Why am I in survival mode in my marriage?
Right. Yeah. It's true.
Why am I fighting for my life in my marriage?
It's true.
That is supposed to be the same.
You being mad at me because your side chick didn't answer the phone, that's not my problem. Let me call her for you. Let me help you.
Let me get the number.
Come pick him
Hello,
up.
he needs you.
He needs you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why am I in survival mode in my marriage?
Yeah.
Not doing it.
I think that was one of my pivotal points too, when a situation happened and my daughter was in the hallway. Like, I could see her in like my line of sight. So I know she saw what was going on. And the first thing you click. Like, hey, go to your room. Yeah. Go to your room, shut the door.
It's the mama bearing
you.
Okay,
this is gonna finish. You know, I'm gonna be
done.
all right.
We done.
So I have to make the conscious decision. And what was the next morning? I was like, look, we're gonna leave. We're gonna.
And what's so crazy is even after we fought like cats and dogs, I still stayed because I wanted my daughter. For me, it was I want her to be raised in a 2-parent household. Yeah. But what happens when the 2-parent household is toxic?
Right.
I would rather her be in a 1-income, 1-single-parent household that's peaceful
and
love. She can feel the love, and once I divorced him, he divorced the baby.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's cool. I was like, that's cool. That's fine. I was like, whenever you ready, she'll be here.
Right.
So other than that, she got men in her life. So I wasn't tripping. And for some reason, they think in their mind, they're doing something to you. You ain't doing nothing to me but I ain't doing nothing.
Making me free. I'm free.
I'm free. I'm at peace, and I'm bringing you to God.
Yes.
Because
the person that really, and you know this, the person that's really praying for it, she ain't even old enough to know it yet.
Yeah.
Right.
And
she ain't missing nothing.
No. And the crucial part about it is when she reaches a certain age, she'll know what she didn't have, but she won't even know the value of the weight of what she didn't have because of all she did have.
And I always told my mom, me and my mom had this discussion because she said, Ariel, you did what a lot of women are afraid to do. Like, I was like, Mama, I said, honestly, I was afraid. You got to understand. I was afraid too.
Yeah.
I did it scared though.
Yeah, I did.
I did it scared. Like, I felt like Ruth. Like, Ruth had her man, literally, he died. But it felt like a death. Like, I had to grieve the marriage. Even though we both, what he did was very hurtful and very heartbreaking. But at the same time, I still grieved it because we it wasn't always bad.
No,
it wasn't always bad. He was, we were together. He put on a great act. He was he acted as a great husband. Yeah. It was a great role that he put on.
Yeah. It was a great season.
Yeah, it was a great season. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
He was great. Yeah. He was a great, and listen, when the time came, like for me to even have Jay, I probably wouldn't be here if he wouldn't have gave the doctor the okay to stop me from hemorrhaging after I had her. You know what I'm saying? So he was. I tell people this all the time. He's still a great guy.
Yeah. Just not for me.
He's just not a great guy for me.
Amen.
And I think that's the.
I feel like all exes need to get to that place.
Yes.
The world would be such a better place.
Amazing individual.
Yeah, you just not for me.
And
that's
okay.
You
take it to or whoever.
Yeah, let that new supply deal with it.
Yeah.
Let the new supply deal.
Let them.
I've seen the ins and outs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
For me.
And now, but that taught me to not even look, but to ask the hard questions.
And let me tell you something else too. I think people need to understand. The person on the right side of the situation sees the room for growing.
Yeah.
The person on the wrong side sees it too. Now, whether or not they make the conscious decision to say, I'm going to adjust my life. That's their choice.
That's an ego. That's an ego thing too.
But the reality is when we sever a relationship, and here's what I'm going to tell you. Oh, this was so hard. I used to get frustrated with God about this. Because when I would go to God and pray about somebody else, God would tell me about something else to go fix about me. And I'm like, God, we're not talking about me.
But it's self-reflection. Yes. It's self-reflection because sometimes we may even project our own demises or our own insecurities onto other people. And we have to, we really, when I start feeling a certain way about somebody, I tell God, check me first. Mm-hmm. I have to. I've learned to do that now because I will literally go into a place where I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't like that.
Cause you're entertaining them thoughts.
Yeah,
it's not.
And I'll be like,
it don't even have to be all you. It just be a thought.
And God really be checking. He be like, Ariel, sis, as much grace.
Yes.
The sufficient grace that I've had for you.
Yes.
And one thing that I have learned, I'm me and my therapist, we've been working on this. God have mercy. He wants me to start dating again, and
you're not ready.
The ghetto.
Yeah. Well, it's poo in the dating pool. I'm just telling you, it's real poo.
And it's like the men want to be catered to, and I'm like, sorry. And my schedule is crazy. Mm. I'm a single mom. I work 40 plus hours a week. I'm in ministry. I do ministry. I'm at work, I'm at church, or I'm at home.
But let me tell you the sweet thing about that though. Is we're at an age now where it has to be right.
Yes.
Right? So, and I'll tell you this in the sense that, but we're also mature enough, failed enough, won enough to know exactly what we want. So I don't have to play the game. Like I'm gonna. I
know after when they shoot they shot.
Yeah.
I know when they shoot they shot.
Yeah, if it's the right.
Because I'm gonna look through that profile, and first I want to look if it got gang signs up in the picture.
Yeah, that's it.
And don't have your dead homie as your profile picture.
No. See,
because why your dead homie look better than you?
Yeah.
Don't let the devil use you like that.
So for me, I'm gonna tell you. So for me, when we when we hit it off,
yeah,
like it was just like right, like
it gels.
And let me tell you what, like I tell people when I tell people the story, like I know that we're gonna have some white people watching this, so please don't take offense. I'm not racist. I love everybody, but I need to be honest, right?
There you go apologizing again. He said what he said.
So but here's the deal.
Look, I'm the mean help. You said what he said.
All of my white friends,
yeah.
they were like, "Oh yeah, I met my friend, my spouse or whatever, and we dated for like 8 months, and I knew." I'm like, "You knew in 8 months?
That's crazy."
Like you know, in the hood, we date 3-4 years,
yeah.
and then it's like you
probably have a baby or two.
Yeah,
we gonna test this little parenting thing out.
I can keep you.
Yeah, yeah.
For us, it was like dating, 6 months, wedding. Right, and
because you knew,
and we knew, and it was crazy. It like not saying that because we're a blended family, so not saying blending homes was not complicated.
It's always complicated,
but
girl, it was.
Whew. If it wasn't, and I'd be like, "How did y'all do that?"
No.
Okay,
Jesus.
It was complicated.
Yeah,
it was 100% complicated.
Yeah,
but here's the sweet thing though: it never felt like something we couldn't and wasn't going to figure out.
Okay.
Like it didn't feel like you like, you know what, this ain't it. Like, and I feel this ain't it. No. Like, and I'm saying that to you because my life was the same way, but a little different. I was both fully employed, fully in ministry,
right,
fully a father,
right,
and fully an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Like living in all of these places and like, but I also knew, I kept saying this was the thing though. I said, when I was a kid, I knew that there were things that I wanted to do, and I wanted to do them well. And here was, I knew that I wanted to be a good husband. I knew that I wanted to do and operate in ministry and pour into other people. I knew I wanted to be a good father, and I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, not so that I could be rich, but so that I could be a philanthropist and that I could give and I could sow and I could support, right? And so I knew those things. So when it came time to evaluate my life after my divorce, it was, do these 5 things still reign as goals? Are they still parts of the identity of who I am? And if they are, then whatever relationship I go into, it has to fit.
Right.
First date, not even gonna hold you. First date, first of all, we go to the boardwalk and I'm sweating bullets. I mean I'm out there
like
dying.
he rained on himself.
I'm dying out there. You understand me?
Because he's already overthinking what he's overthinking about.
100%. So then we do our first date. Everything kicks off. It's cool. It's like, okay, I probably could do this. Then she shows me on her door this it's a piece of paper where she had wrote out the things that she wanted to do and the things she wanted to accomplish, and they so meshed, right? Then it was, okay, now let's have this conversation of kids, because I got 2, and 2 was technically enough. She has 5, so together we have 7. Am I really ready for this? And then I meet her youngest, and I tell her, we have this conversation all the time. Like, he was the seal of the situation. Like, that is it. Like, you know what I mean?
She ain't dating no more.
Nah,
I like him.
Pull him off the market.
Once the kid be like, yeah, I like him.
Yeah, and so it worked. And then I will tell you, you know this, progressively, it's a work continuous, right? Like, the relationships are continuously growing and evolving. And I will say all of our dynamics have continuously grown and evolved. But the hard part was, my therapist wasn't the one who told me. It was my child.
There it is.
She was like, Daddy, like, you're spending too much time with us. Like, it's time for you to date.
Okay.
You need to get out there and find
Well, I mean, my mama had already told me, like, she was like, Ariel, we're fine. Yeah. I got your daddy got me.
Yeah.
Something happened to her. Yeah, she was like, Jay gonna grow up and leave you. Yeah. Please.
Find you somebody.
Please find you somebody. But I mean, and I am, it's just.
But it ain't like that easy. Like, I can just go through the catalog.
Yeah, okay. You know.
Change the hair. It's. All right, him. He'll do.
Yeah. It's
easy.
almost like, I can't really explain it. Like, I'm not rushing the process. I'm just a lady in waiting right now.
Yeah.
And while I'm waiting, I'm working.
Yeah.
And I'm handling my business. And the right guy, I mean, there are guys I'm talking to, but some of them don't understand the intricacies of my life and the different roles that I have. Some one may tell you she don't make no time for, well, hey, my schedule is slim to none, baby. I don't know what to tell you.
Either you can always come.
Yeah, you can always come. I'm gonna be there. Like, pop up. I don't know what to tell you. Pop up. Come pull up at the restaurant. And one thing about it, I'm dating everybody. I mean, just not women, but I'm dating everybody. You know what I'm saying? A woman can't do nothing. Girl, you can't do that with all this. Okay, it's gonna take a man to come in and be like, all right, he got to have some bass, and it's too many high pitched men around here, and I'm not just talking about the vocal cords. They are literally expecting things like women, and I'm like, sir, I'm not gonna buy you flowers.
But we dangerously did that.
Yeah, we did.
We dangerously did that.
I will give you your flowers, but I'm not like I'll reassure you and I'll do all that, but I'm not finna open up your car door. Open up mine. Yeah, and that's the part. That's the part.
Now, open it up now.
Go change my oil. And these men have such all of these high. Do you know? Like, I remember like one date I went to the bathroom and I never came back.
No,
girl, police. Police. I was like, this man gonna ask me. Don't ever ask me this, because then you gonna get the response that you're not ready for. He gonna ask me, he say, what you bring to the table? I said, the table that you're asking that I'm bringing, I'm gonna bring another man to it.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna sell your table.
Not that.
I'm gonna sell your table.
Do you want this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
okay, now
what I bring to the table? I'm a woman. I have a womb.
Yeah.
That's what I bring to the table. Anything you put in my hands, it's gonna be multiplied.
It's weird that we're at a place where this is content, right? Like, I was looking on the internet the other day and I was like, are we really like a man was talking about like, what do you bring to the table? And it's funny you saying this because another man was like, we go on a date. You should bring me something. Bring you something. That has never been a prerequisite. Like, it was a prerequisite for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But somewhere here we've blurred the line of the role and responsibility of courting.
But I know when we were, we had a little
scuffle,
a little incident. But we had to. Well, mainly I'm gonna say I'll take the blame. I had to realize that his 100 ain't gonna look like my 100.
Absolutely, but that's the thing. If you just show up with your 100, we can work out the rest.
Right. But I was so single mom.
Right.
And you like, I take care of my bills. I take care of myself.
It's the I. Yeah.
I do this. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes into the equation, it's like,
hey,
but you don't have to spend your last. Like, you can have money in your account,
girl.
You can have stuff, Vanessa. And I'm like, well, my kids,
because your mind has always been focused, and you've always prioritized your kids.
It's always prioritized making sure there's laundry detergent, making sure that everybody got toilet paper. So I may run out of money. Yeah, making sure everybody
because you're managing a household on one income.
But it's like,
when he comes into the picture, he's telling you, "Hey, babe, I got it."
I was like,
I got it. And she may. And what's so crazy is you may take off the financial load, but you may also help him with the mental load.
I was just about
it's
to say
the perfect exchange. Yes. One thing that I have seen with my parents, like I said, they've been married 40 years. Now I have seen. Listen, Charlotte and Albert have gotten into a good old cussing match. Now Albert ain't finna cuss her, but he gonna yell back. And he gonna walk away. Yeah. My dad has literally, now this was in the 1995, 96. They was going, she was just my daddy pulled over. Now we on the highway now.
Not the highway.
Albert is crazy. He a counselor. I know y'all everybody, don't be saying that about astrology. Girl, shut up. It's astrology. Just shut up. Yeah. I don't worship it. It's just some things make sense. Yeah. Oh, Lord. But anyway, that man pulled over on the side of the highway, got out, and walked off.
No.
You hear me? You hear what I said?
You're just like,
all the kids. We looking like, my daddy wasn't getting back in that vehicular.
No.
You hear me? He was not getting back in that vehicular. He was like,
he said, I need a break right now.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
But it took, but let me say this, but even with me, when I was the only person in my family that can really get me to like when I got into that nice brawl with it was beautiful.
She done changed to a brawl.
It was baby, it was a brawl. They had holes in the wall.
Oh, God.
I was throwing candlesticks, any decoration I could find. It was a weapon. Nobody was safe. The dog was hiding in the second bedroom. You hear me? I had forgot to put the dog. Once I put that ponytail up and walked up them steps to that loft, I forgot I had a dog. But it was my mama said, I'm not going over there. My daddy came. And he walked up the steps.
Like, this is a mess.
Just as calm.
Yeah, that's him.
Just as calm and cool. I was like, this man is crazy.
That's him.
He was so calm.
Yeah, that's him.
He was like, well, I don't see no scratches on you. What happened to him? I said, well, the police took him. He was like, you all right? I was like, I'm fine. He was like, okay, well, let's clean this up and take you a little nap and get the baby.
Get you some food.
You want something to eat?
You need some rest.
Look like you need a little nap. He's like, where the dog? I was like, I don't know where the dog is.
Dog under the bed.
Okay, scared.
Like,
the dog
humans are crazy.
She was a tornado in here.
People like, finally, somebody here with some
What
sense.
happened?
Somebody with some sense came. There was a
She came through with the six, running with a wall.
If he can speak English, let me tell you what I heard. I didn't see much, but let me tell you what I heard.
I went to run it. But my dad, even him, like, he comes in with this calm. He doesn't fight fire with fire.
Yeah.
And I've learned that is the type of man that I need in my life because I'm already like without because baby, when I say I used to smoke weed tough, pop a good edible. God is good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's walking me through that thing. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. But I mean, my dad, he literally comes in and he'll call me or I'll be going off on something. I'll be like, and he'll call my phone, baby girl.
Yeah.
When he hit me with that baby girl, he like, I don't like
the tiger's nails
are
going back
what
in.
are you? But he hits me with that calm in a still small voice.
Yeah.
Baby girl, let's remember who we are.
Right.
Remember who you are.
Whose you are.
And whose you are. Mm-hmm. Remember who you serve. Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, I don't want to hear that. And he'd be like, you don't have to, but I'm going to call you again. I'm going to say the same thing.
Yeah. Until we get it together.
It's going to register.
Eventually we'll get you.
And so probably by the fourth phone call, we good.
But that sounds about right. So my dad is clearly not the one.
Yeah.
But my mom.
Oh, I love your mom.
My mom's 100% be the one. I'm gonna tell you why. For a couple reasons. One, my mom's not going to argue. And listen, let me tell you. Week 1 of my marriage, I called my mom and my dad. I called my dad first. I said, Dad, I'm in trouble. He said, why? My wife is like my mama. She ain't hollering. She ain't raising her voice. She don't curse. She's not going to fuss. I say, Dad, I'm upset. I'm going off. And she's saying nothing. And we weren't even married at the time, the first phone call, because what happened, so one of the kids lives in Dallas, and they had a crisis.
Yeah.
So she called me, she said, Babe, we need to get to Dallas. Bet. But we're going to do that. I said, I'm going to I'll take care of the gas, we'll find a car. I'm going to take care of the gas, we'll find a hotel, we'll take care of all of it. That Friday gets here. I'm getting ready to get off work. I'm like, all right, babe. She's like, all right, I done gassed up the car. I got the hotel booked. I said, well, I need to get some food. I already got food. So now I'm upset. I don't even lie. The man in me is mad. Because I'm like, you did my job. Like, I was supposed to show up and take care of all of these things. And so I done went off.
I just told you.
I can't believe this. And then I
just told you.
Wait. So, in order for me to be ready when we go, I got to finish getting my hair done. She's like, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
There you go. Hit them with that. I'm going to call you back.
It's like,
did she just dismiss me? Yeah.
So
she did.
I called my dad and Dad's like, I told you. So then I called my mom. She's like, Brian, it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. we get all the way to Dallas. We take care of all our business. She didn't say nothing. Now you're in Dallas from here is a little bit of ride.
Oh yeah, it's a 3 hour.
We done talked about everything but that.
Mm-hmm.
We get to Dallas. We take care of the kids. We take it the next day. We leave and we coming back. So, I'm not used to a man taking. I didn't mean to disrespect you.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, where was this conversation
the whole time?
I was ago.
But you need time to process it. You do.
But see, for me, and that was the thing I had to learn.
Okay, Al.
I'm a fast processor, so I think quick, and I'm.
Yeah, that's me.
No,
but you had. That's why I go with the point, and I've been talking because my other brother, me and him went through a divorce at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That was ghetto.
Yeah,
real ghetto. But we've both come to this term where this is what I always say: you got to love people where they are.
Yep.
Not meet them, love them.
Love them.
Mm-hmm. You can and you can meet them where they are too.
Yeah. I got what you're saying.
But you have to love them where they are. Mm-hmm. Everybody don't love the same way. Mm-hmm. Everybody don't fight the same way. No. Some people are fight or flight. My dad is a flight. Mm-hmm. He gonna leave. Mm-hmm. I remember one time on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. My daddy preaching way in Kuntz now. Charlotte was putting on that stocking and going out with one stocking on. My dad say, if y'all gonna get to church, you might want to get in that van right now. Baby, I grabbed my shoes and ran to the van. Charlotte had to drive to Kuntz. Mad.
I bet you.
She was, as soon as she got there, sitting in the front like.
But she was still hooping, hollering for her man. But he was preaching.
I'm gonna tell you the most dangerous
But she was mad though.
Yeah.
The most dangerous person to me is the quiet one.
Oh yeah, quiet
storm. You know
storm.
what you're gonna get. The quiet one is the dangerous because
you don't know what to expect.
And that's her.
Yeah.
Look, to the degree sometimes they're like, you mad? No, I'm not mad. You're quiet.
But I'm processing.
Yeah, that's what she does.
She's processing. People process differently. Like I process by having an open line of communication.
And I'm a process out loud.
Me too. I gotta talk about it.
Yeah, no.
Gotta talk. We gotta say something because it's in my head too much.
Yeah,
but
I get it out.
Yeah.
And then he's so mad. Just say something.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know what you want me to say. Yeah, you don't. And I've had to learn. But just watching my two parents, they've literally grown up together.
But you realize you said something earlier, and I think it's the truth.
Yeah,
we've made it this like questionable. Oh, you got daddy issues or mommy issues. But the reality is, my expectation for what I'm going to get in a marriage stems from what I watched my mom and my dad do.
Right, absolutely.
This is easier because I told my mom and my dad, I've never seen them argue.
No.
I've never seen them argue.
Oh, I see mine.
No. Listen, I'm talking about, you got to understand, it goes back to the same matter, it takes two. My mother is never going to engage. Yeah. My dad might be mad, my mother wouldn't respond.
Right.
So then what my mom would do, she was smart. My mom would wait till at night. The kids done went to bed. Both of them in bed. They laying up next to each other. You said this to me in front of the kids, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Really? You hurt Pam? You didn't like it? No, I didn't like it. Because at this point,
but you see when she does it though.
Yes.
She does it when the children are asleep.
Yes.
When they are in their own sanctuary of the home.
Yes.
My mama, it took my mama a while to get that, but she does that now.
But for me, it didn't make sense.
Really?
So when I'm in my marriage, I'm having issues. I'm like, well, where do we argue? Do we argue here? Do we argue out there? Do we not argue?
We just
do we
don't
talk about it. And so look, I
keep it in the back pocket.
For me, half the time I'm not even upset.
Keep it right back here.
Half the time I'm not even upset. I'm a loud talker. I can talk loud because if I talk loud, she's like, are you fussing at me? No, I'm not fussing.
Yeah,
I'm really not.
Just passionate.
Just
passionate.
But that was it. Like, he would come in like on 10 when we were dating. He would like go through something at work or something happened during the day. He was like on 10.
Yeah.
So I would like sit on the floor like maybe this is gonna make him go lower because
no, she would.
He was on.
He's just a passionate.
She would sit on the floor and it worked. But wait, it was crazy. She would sit on the floor. She said, "Okay, give me your feet." And she rubbed my feet and she's like, "Okay, so what happened?" And for you're like. So what happened was
you see what she's doing is she's changing the level, the intensity of the conversation.
Brought it down.
Yeah. So what you were saying, baby?
Yes.
See, I've learned to do that. Well, I was doing that in my second marriage, but it was being taken advantage of. And because I had become very very feeble and very fragile because I didn't want to fail again. So I literally diminished a lot of who I really was in my marriage because I wanted this one to work. I wanted it to work.
I wanted to win. Let me get this one win.
I was like, this is the second one, Lord. They gonna think something wrong with me, Jesus. But I was like, ain't nothing wrong with me. You know, and I was like, it's a compliment to be married twice.
Two people thought
I was worthy.
So I had to really get out of my own head with that too. But you've mastered the art of having true conversation. And also when you think about it, Adam and Eve, when God came to them, he came to them in the cool of the day.
Yeah. Not when it was all. You're right. That was a good one.
He didn't come to them, and my daddy taught me that.
Yeah.
But another thing that has helped me is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1-8. There's a time and a season for everything.
Yep.
You're right about that.
There's a time of war. There's a time of peace.
Mm-hmm.
I have learned that there is a time and a place for everything. I remember I was doing that. Like whenever my ex-husband would say something or do something that was very disrespectful to me, I would just eat it. I'd be like, and even when I would bring it to him at the end of the day, he would raise hell. That's because he was cheating.
Yeah. So for me, it's crazy because there was one part of it.
That was a him thing. That was a him thing. Big him.
One part of it I had down.
Yeah.
Right, which was don't go to bed angry.
Oh, absolutely.
I had that down. Right, I'm not gonna go to bed mad. What I didn't have down though was what is a healthy way to approach these unhealthy situations. You know what I'm saying? Like because again, my grandmother, she taught this to me, and she got it from somebody who, well, I think she said, my grandmother told me they went to AAA, and my grandmother used to bring them, and what they said was, does it need to be said? Does it need to be said by me? Does it need to be said by me right now? And so the amount of breath it takes to ask myself those questions, do I need to say this? Wait, does this need to be said? Am I the one God has called to say this? Is this the appointed time that God has called me to say this? Because if those things ain't the case, it's probably not one of those ones I need to fight. And this one has taught me to work that. And the
absolutely.
reason is because even if I need to say it, like,
it's a time and a place.
It's a time and a place.
It's a time and a place. I've learned that even with some of my friendships. Some people, now sometimes my friends know. If it's on my spirit and he done dropped it,
it's coming.
So toodalooms to your feelings. Toodalooms to your feelings, baby. I'm so sorry. Yeah, because he's given me this time and this opportunity to say what I need to say, because it's probably going to help you or prevent something from happening, or something that you've been contemplating about. Yeah. And lo and behold, every time. Yep. Every single time.
And see, that's one of the things that was in there. I know we got to start wrapping this up, but one of the things that was in the question too was you have such a bold, authoritative presence, right? That like to know you and to be around you clearly is to accept that, but then to understand how to navigate that, because you're not I know my friends.
Right.
This is my friend who's going to tell me what I want to hear.
Right.
This is my friend who's going to tell me what I need to hear.
Right.
She's going to keep it 100, and she probably going to say it to me raw
and hurt my feelings,
real.
And it's okay.
But when I'm done.
But after I hurt your feelings,
okay.
When I'm done,
but I
know
still love
what
you.
to go do with myself. But when I'm done, I know what to go do with myself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so we choose who we want to talk to about what we're going through, about what we really want to do with the situation.
Yeah.
If I really want to be better, I go talk to the person that I know is going to do the right thing. But if I want to sit in this, I'm going to go find somebody that's going to cheerlead this emotion that I'm having right now, so that I can sit in it for a while. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And the reality is one appears to be healthy for me and is completely unhealthy for me. And the one that doesn't feel good to me, it's like the Robitussin or the Scotch emotion our parents used to give us as kids. Tastes horrible going down,
but it's gonna help you.
I'm good. Like, you know what I'm saying?
My mom always told me what I didn't really want to hear. Yeah. It hurt. It really did, because I was like, girl, you don't even know. Like, you don't even know. And she was like, I may not know, but I'm gonna tell you what the real is. They got women that's going through the same thing you going through with 4 or 5 children. and they making it happen. Yep. She was like, so you can't stay depressed and funky. Get your tail in the shower. Yep. Go wash your hair, brush your teeth, scrub your tongue.
Yeah, and get to it.
And get to it.
Get to it. Yep.
Yeah. And it was it hurted because I wanted my mom to be my mommy and baby me and coddle me. I just want to stay here and die. Okay, you do that, and Jade is gonna be with us. And
I think my children are who they are now because they watched me. They watched me do it. Yeah. They watched me do the work. They watched me work my faith. They've watched me grow. Like,
you impacted them.
I have a 23-year-old.
You impacted them.
So, like, they grew up with me.
Absolutely.
And if I didn't, you know what I'm saying? If I just stayed and just wallowed in it and just was like, whatever, woe was me, they wouldn't have become the individuals that they are now. Like, they're stubborn. Yeah. Now,
But that comes from seeing. The stubbornness comes from seeing the different relationships and the different dynamics of relationships, so they know what to stand on and what not, what they gonna take, what they not gonna take. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna come with that. My mama is seeing her. My grandmother was married almost 4 times. So my mom seeing that, she had already made it up in her mind.
I'm only gonna do this one time. Yeah.
A man only got to show me one time that he don't want me.
Yeah.
He ain't got to tell me. When he showed me,
that's enough.
Period.
Well, man, listen, we had a blast. I know that we probably barely broke the surface, but let's just be clear, we're gonna do this again.
I'm here for it.
So, but
I
guys,
love y'all.
Listen,
I love it too. I enjoyed it.
Share this, but not just share it, man. Listen, we're trying to build a community around people who need to be encouraged in a season when they feel like the world just don't understand them. Because even in me not being understood, sometimes I'm not understood because I'm not called to fit in the place I'm trying to force myself to be.
Yeah.
And so I pray that something was said or happened here that encourages you. And until, as the old song say, until we meet again,
hey,
I'll let y'all.